They tried to turn my studio into a nursery. Said I was too old to play with paints. My sister measured my walls for her crib. My parents backed her, offered me the couch. They thought I'd fold, but I had a lease, a plane ticket, a plan. I left a note. You wanted my space. Congratulations. Now you have nothing. Now I'm in Costa Rica, painting while my work tours the world. They watch from afar, and I don't look back. I was 16 when my mother first referred to my art studio as a waste of space. She's doing it again now, 18 years later, but this time she's doing it for a reason that makes my stomach turn. For the past 5 years, this studio has been my haven. My name is Elena. My soul is in every sun-bleached wall and paint-splattered floorboard. Dust particles swirl over my most recent commission. An abstract piece that has already sold for enough to pay for 3 months' worth of home payments, while the early light filters through the bay windows. Once more my phone buzzes. Mom calls for the third time in 5 minutes. Thank heavens, Elena. We are in a predicament. There's that familiar mix of disappointment and drama in her voice. We are needed by your sister. I apply another layer to the canvas by dipping my brush into cerulean blue. What has Sienna done since then? It's Nathan. He is no longer there. The thing with retaliation is that it doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it's about silently selecting yourself and creating a life that is so peaceful and purposeful that others who formerly attempted to control you no longer have a place in it. Remember this if you've been abandoned or deceived. Limits are love directed inward, and healing is power. Let your own development be the solution. Have you ever left someone who didn't really see you? I'd love to know how you discovered your strength, so please share your story in the comments section. A pause for impact. She and the children were left, simply gone. Bank balances were depleted. Mid-stroke, the brush freezes. What? While we work this out, she needs a place to stay. Your dad and I have been conversing. There it is. Before she even completes the stulionment, I feel the usual weight in my chest. She goes on to say the studio would make a perfect nursery. So much natural light. In any case, it's time for you to take life seriously, my love. Playing with paints at the age of 34 is inappropriate. I look at the letter I have on my desk, the one that says I've been accepted to the artist residency in Costa Rica. Departure is in 10 days. I almost giggle at the irony. This is where I work, Mom. This is where I earn a living. Oh, please, your expenses are hardly covered by those small paintings. Your father assists with the mortgage, as we all know. I have to face the fact that Dad hasn't made any contributions since I purchased the house 3 years ago. They continue to believe that I rent. Sarah sends me an SMS on my phone. Val, please? The children require their aunt. Avoid becoming self-centered. Selfish. I've loved their word since I was a child. Choosing art school above business is selfish. Being self-centered, I didn't lend Sienna my car after she crashed hers. It's selfish to skip Sunday dinners in order to fulfill gallery deadlines. Mom says your sister will be there in an hour. Will assist you with moving your belongings to the garage. There, you can keep all of your, she pauses, trying to find the correct word, supplies. I fill the kettle after making my way to the kitchen. I move with purpose. Be calm. There's another buzzing text. Regarding renting the house, this is from the Women's Creative Collective I've been speaking with. They remain intrigued. The time was ideal. I'll put on the tea, Mom. See you shortly. With a smile on my lips, I hang up the phone and rest against the counter, picturing their reactions when they understand what's about to happen. My space is what they want. All right. However, they will discover the consequences of pushing an artist too far. The kettle is whistling. I take out my grandma's china set, which Mom always wanted but never acquired. Let's make this one to remember. A notification from the airline app flashes on my phone. You can check in for your San Jose flight. Outside, I hear automobile doors slamming. Mom's Mercedes. Dad's. Sienna's voice reverberates around the garden as she begins to arrange the changing table. They are exactly on time as usual. I examine my reflection in the window and straighten my paint-stained apron. They don't anticipate the woman who is staring back to be a pushover. She is a completely different person. Someone who has spent more time than they realize preparing for this moment. The doorbell rings. I pick up the teapot, which has 4 cups, one for each of them, and is nicely put on the antique tray. I don't have any. When their world turns upside down, they'll need something to cling to. I shout coming in a calm, pleasant voice. Let them believe that I am the same obedient Elena who is prepared to give up everything for the sake of family peace. Allow them to mentally reorganize my life and measure my walls. I've got 10 days to prove to them how mistaken they've been about me all along. The door opens to reveal their eager faces. Sienna's fashionable sunglasses concealing what I'm sure are strategic tears, Dad's rehearsed worry, and Mom's hardly disguised joy. As if they own the place, they stream in and start grabbing the tea I've made. As I pour, I watch the steam rising like the plans I'm making in my head, and I smile. So tell me everything, I say. And they do, oblivious to the fact that I keep my hands off my phone when it buzzes again. My lawyer is most likely verifying that the lease documents are prepared. They don't witness me looking at the clock as I count down the hours till my group meeting. Really, they never saw me. However, they will soon experience my absence in ways they never could have predicted. Now let's start the games. Sienna declares, the light in here is just perfect for the crib, as she confidently paces my studio like someone who has never heard the word nay. Last summer, I hand-restored the hardwood flooring, and her high-end heels clack against them. That easel can be moved to make room for the changing table. My sister uses an iPhone app to measure my life while I sit on my work stool. Like their mother always was, her children, Max and Emma, are at the park with our parents, most likely being promised the moon and stars. How long do you anticipate having to stay? I inquire in a neutral tone of voice. Sienna's red-rimmed eyes are visible when she presses her sunglasses onto her head. God, Val, I just lost my husband. In this case, I'm not precisely working with a timeline. With her 3rd cup of tea in hand, Mom storms in from the kitchen. Don't annoy your sister, darling. She has endured enough. With that familiar expression that screams, I'm being difficult again, she turns to face me. We discovered several beautiful storage facilities close by. Elena, very safe and clean. The acceptance letter in my desk drawer comes to mind. Of the rental contract that is pending in my email. Of the meticulously planned departure strategy I've been assembling for several months. I respond, I actually have some shows coming up. Commissions to complete. Shows? Mom laughs, you mean those tiny displays at coffee shops? I respond, the Hartley Gallery. Not to mention that it's among the city's most prominent venues for modern art. Anyhow, they wouldn't give a damn. Without asking, Sienna pulls open my supply drawers and interrupts. Oh, please. You can use the garage to paint. You're not quite a Picasso. A flashback shows Kirara tearing up my sketchbook in high school when I forbade her from copying my assignments. I apologized to Mom for making a fuss about it. My phone is buzzing. Dad texted, made a call to your landlord. He is open to talking about ending the lease early. I nearly burst out laughing. They continue to believe that I rent this space. I didn't bother to inquire about how I truly purchased it 3 years ago. I never asked where my money from the coffee shop actually went. I get up and say, I have some calls to make. Work-related items. Right now, Mom's voice becomes octave higher. Our goal is to assist your sister. It will only take a moment. I shut the door on their protests and enter my bedroom. I call my current mentor, an old professor, Margot. They are present, I mumble, as though they own the place. The lease documents are prepared, she responds. Next week, the collective can move in. Are you certain about this? Sienna's voice comes through the door. This wall color must be removed. It's really creative. I respond, I've never been more certain. They have already begun a pile of what they have designated as my non-essential goods when I get back. My custom brushes, my reference materials, my board of inspiration, All of them were judged superfluous for their future plans for me. Your bedroom can also be converted, Sienna says. Construct a suitable playroom. The pull-out couch in the living area is yours to keep. Definitely not. The words sound sharper than they were meant to. Mom jerks her head up. My sister needs therapy, Elena said. As soon as it lands, I apologize for the outburst and cut in right away. Not quite yet. It's not time yet. On cue, Sienna's face crumples. Her mother rushes to console her. Dad frowns as he enters the doorway. He says, I just got off the phone with Steve. Your landlord is being challenging over the lease, claims he hasn't heard from you regarding his move out. I make my face look neutral. Really? How peculiar. This is absurd, Sienna yells, her mascara flawlessly cascading down one cheek. There is nowhere else for me to go. My kids require consistency, and they'll get it, I whisper. Give me a couple of days to work things out. My comments are interpreted as resignation, and they visibly relax. Mom begins discussing paint samples. Moving trucks are the subject of Dad's notes. Sienna takes out her phone, most likely to text her pals about her amazing, understanding sister. I sneak the acceptance letter into my pocket, and they don't notice. They can't see me verifying my lawyer's appointments or checking travel information. Except when I didn't fit into their plans, they never really paid any attention to me. I offer, I think I saw some boxes in the garage. I'll check. I lean against my car in the garage and inhale deeply. I can see them in my studio via the glass, changing my life without my presence. As usual, once more my phone buzzes. An airline email. Confirmed seat upgrade, first class. Burning bridges might as well be cozy. Sienna is undoubtedly wondering where those boxes are when she calls my name. I straighten, change my face, and go back inside. There are 9 days remaining. You have 9 more days to continue being their ideal scapegoat. They will then discover the consequences of mistaking silence for surrender. So, how should I handle these? Playing my part flawlessly, I hold up a set of pricey acrylic paints. In the summer, the garage gets quite hot. They could melt. Sienna's eyes scarcely leave her phone. Simply sell them. Once you land a legitimate job, it's not like you'll need them anymore. When she's not looking, I put them in the keep pile. Last month, these paints covered her mortgage. She's not aware of that. She had survived because to the anonymous transfer I had set up after Nathan left. But she most likely thought it came from one of her many wealthy friends. In relation to employment, Mom adds, going through my canvases as if they were stuff from a yard sale. Your father knows someone at his firm looking for a receptionist. I pretend to think about it as I text Margot beneath the table and nod. Is the 3-person meeting still scheduled? Verified. She responds, I'm bringing contracts and keys for collective. Are you even listening, Val? Sienna loses her temper. Here, we're working to help you create a real future. I apologize, I was just verifying gallery information. Innocently, by the way. How much is Nathan sending for child support? I ask after pausing. There is silence in the room. Sienna gets red in the face. That isn't your concern. Mom jumps right in. I say, my voice pouring honey, she's already going through enough, just trying to help plan the budget. Because everyone is so worried about having adult responsibilities. From his corner, Dad clears his throat. In fact, we ought to talk about financial arrangements. I said your mother and I can help with no need. I can handle it. They gaze at each other. The kind they've been talking about since I first declared my desire to become an artist at the age of 12. Elena's awful naive appearance. Once more my phone buzzes. A message from an unidentified number. Sienna has to be discussed. Julian. My heart skips a beat. Julian, the former best friend of my ex-boyfriend Nathan. It has been years since I last heard from him. I grab my keys and declare I have some errands to run. Art supplies to sell. Just in time, Mom says. Samples of paint are required from the hardware shop. Pale yellow is what I had in mind for the nursery walls. I'm almost to the door already. Create a list. I'll look up costs. It takes 15 minutes to go to Margot's gallery by car. Every one of them is spent picturing my family's reactions when they learn what's about to happen. With a stack of papers and a knowing smile, Margot welcomes me. She spreads out the leasing agreement and says the collective is thrilled. Next week marks the beginning of 12 months. They'll look after the home well. And my artwork, until you return from your trip to Costa Rica, store safely in our climate-controlled warehouse. She stopped. Val, are you certain about this? There is a nuclear alternative. Sienna measuring my studio windows for curtains is what comes to mind this morning. Mom intends to cover my murals with paint. Calls from Dad regarding correct work. They have never seen me, I declare as I sign the documents. It's time to make them pay for that. I receive a coffee from Margot. By the way, your most recent work sold out. The abstract in blue, double the asking price, was paid by the buyer. Mom's remark about little paintings makes me grin. Sienna's rent for 6 months would be covered by just one canvas alone. I won't be assisting with that anymore. My phone comes to life. Julian once more. It concerns the actual events between Nathan and us. Sienna was aware of things she kept from you. She did, of course, always handling everyone's stories but her own, my ideal sister. I say to Margot, I should go back. They'll question my whereabouts. She gives a set of keys to me. For the group, remember to introduce yourself to the new tenants you have. I take my time driving home, stopping to pick up paint swatches that I will never use. I can see Sienna and Mom moving my furniture around through the studio windows, clearly preparing to take over my area. There are more stacks inside. Make a donation. Trash. Keep perhaps my years of labor, arranged by others who never comprehended it. Mom says, oh good, you're back. We must talk about the schedule for removing your belongings. Next week, Sarah's lease expires. And in fact, I cut in. I created a list of the things I must first organize. Give me a few of days. Sienna gives an eye roll. I whisper again, really, the kids need just a few days to do it correctly. They give in, most likely believing that I'm finally agreeing to their strategy. Mom appears relieved. Dad gives me a clumsy shoulder pat. When they're gone, I'm standing in my studio. Not their made-up nursery, but my actual studio. The walls are painted gold by the evening light, which also highlights the edges of bubble-wrapped paintings and half-packed boxes. One last buzz on my phone. Tomorrow for coffee. The truth is something you deserve to know. I begin wrapping my grandmother's dinnerware after texting back the time and location. When I'm gone, they'll miss these cups. There are 7 days remaining. The countdown is still going on. In 5 years, Julian hasn't changed all that much. Identical leather jacket. He runs his hand through his hair in the same manner when he's anxious. When I get to Riverside Coffee, he's already seated at our regular table. He stands awkwardly and adds, Val, you look good. You're suited for success. Let's not engage in small talk. I take a seat without taking off my jacket. What are your knowledge of Nathan? With a sigh, he thrusts a coffee in my direction. For years, he has been unfaithful to Sienna, since before the children were born. The air becomes motionless, and your sister was fully aware of it. Suddenly, the coffee has a bitter taste. She was aware that she needed his wealth and prestige, performed the role of the ideal wife while he was having fun. He tilts forward, but I didn't call you for that. A barista walks by, allowing us time to absorb the significance of what he has spoken. He asks, do you remember why we broke up? You mentioned that you needed room, that our desires were different. Even after all these years, the memory still hurts. I gently say, Sienna told me you were cheating on me. She claimed to have seen you with a gallery owner. His cup is tightly gripped by his hands. Because, well, she's Sienna, I trusted her. She has always been the truthful one, isn't she? The globe slants to one side. What? Last month, I learned that she had done the same thing to Nathan's ex-girlfriend. She has a pattern. Get rid of dangers. Keep things under control. He shows me previous texts from Sienna on his phone. She feared that you would become serious about art. Get out of there. Deprive her of her fallback option. Backup strategy. You, the accountable one. The person who would look after her in the event that everything failed. He stops. As of right now, my hands are trembling. To keep me available for her eventual breakdown, she ruined us. He replies softly, Val, there's more. An envelope is slid across the table by him. The accounts were not emptied by Nathan. Sienna did. For months, she has been transferring funds in anticipation of this. Her speciality is playing the victim. The anonymous transactions I made to assist her come to mind. Of my studio being given up for her convenience. Of my parents racing to her aid. Why tell me now? I inquire, because she's repeating it. She told your parents she planned to remain permanently when I heard her on the phone yesterday. That she will assist you in seeing reason to give up your art. He grabs hold of my hand. I back off. You must understand what you're up against. My phone is buzzing. More paint samples were picked up. Consider updating your bathroom as well. Sienna requires a suitable vanity. I get to my feet suddenly. I must leave. I appreciate you telling me. Val, hold on. Julian comes out behind me. How are you going to proceed? My packed suitcase comes to mind. The lease, they're eager to tear down the life I've created. Nothing, I reply. He appears perplexed. Everything is being taken away from you. No. As I consider the keys in my pocket, I smile. They simply believe they are. Sienna's car is in my driveway at home. In my studio, she is overseeing movers who are moving my belongings to create space for her idea. When she sees me, she chirps, oh good. We need your assistance in determining where these paintings should be donated. They aren't particularly suitable for a nursery. I give her a look. Take a close look at her. My lovely but cunning sister. Since we were little, the golden child has been planning the setbacks in my life. Actually, I guess I'll retain them for the time being, I say in a calm voice. Don't be tough, Val. The movers bill on an hourly basis. Who is footing the bill? I tilt my head in question. She gives a blink. What? The movers. You're broke since Nathan left you, right? Who is footing the bill? Something flashes across her face, either terror or calculating. Daddy, naturally. Fascinating. I go to my bedroom and shut the door after myself. The airline sends a text message to my phone. Your Sunday flight has been confirmed. I start composing a letter after taking out my grandmother's antique writing desk. To my family. When you finished reading this, someone knocked on my door. Val? Sienna had a very lovely voice. Mom wants to know if you'll come to supper with us. The color scheme for the nursery is being planned. I reply, I'll be right there, and carry on writing. There are 4 days remaining. Another 4 days of being the obedient daughter. The encouraging sister. They have 4 days to discover the consequences of mistaking kindness for weakness. I put the note in my go bag, seal it, and leave for supper. Allow them to design their nursery. Allow them to measure, plan, and reorganize. They believe they are ruining my life. They are unaware that they are merely supplying the material for my best work to date, which is my disappearing act. Once more my phone buzzes. Margot, members of the collective wish to get together tomorrow. Are you prepared to start the plan? I reply with a single word via text. All set. What is this? The next morning, Sienna's voice pierces the studio. Her face is flushed with rage as she holds my journal in the air. She screams out the exit plan. You intend to desert us? Despite my racing heart, I maintain a calm tone of voice. You looked through my belongings? Naturally I did. You've been behaving strangely for days. She turns the pages. Costa Rica, a residence for artists. Are you joking? Mom and Dad, likely attracted by Sienna's growing voice, rushed through the studio door. What's happening? Mom insists. Sienna yells, show them, and thrusts the journal in their direction. Prove to them her true selfishness. As they read, I observe their expressions. Dad becomes red. Mom collapses into a well-known disappointment. You agreed to this without talking to us? Dad's voice falters. Without taking into account my situation, your sister's situation. Even to me, it sounds strange when I chuckle. You mean my work, my house, my life. Stop being dramatic, Mom interrupts. You are not the focus of this. I interrupt. Sienna always needs something, and I'm always supposed to supply it, because family is what they do. Sienna lets out a cry. However, you wouldn't be aware of that, would you? You're too preoccupied with your tiny paintings to give a damn about other people. The anonymous payments come to mind. I had once watched her children, so she could make connections with Nathan's co-workers. Because they never cared to look, they were unaware of every sacrifice. Do you know what's fascinating? I say in a quiet voice, none of you ever inquired about how I purchased this home. They hesitate. Julian, perplexed by the abrupt change. What are you discussing? Dad's, you rent from Steve. No, I examined them all. 3 years ago, I purchased it using the money from my small paintings. I look over at Sienna. The same funds that inexplicably showed up in your account when Nathan left last month. Her face goes white. What else is intriguing? Do you know how you were able to inform Julian that I was unfaithful just before my first international performance? The one that would have removed me from this place. Far from being your fallback option. She falters. That's ancient history. He's lying too. You lied about Nathan's affairs, for example. Regarding the funds you have been concealing for several months, Mom intervenes between us. Stop this bullshit. There is a divorce proceeding for your sister. A divorce that she planned, I interrupted. However, you won't ever notice that, will you? Because the victim is Sienna. The golden child is Sienna. The studio is necessary for Sienna. The home, my existence. Dad remarks, you're acting hysterically. You're not like this. No. Now my voice is steady, unambiguous. I am just like this. You simply didn't bother to observe. I take my phone out and put it on speaker. Almost instantly, a voice responds. Margaret says, Val, the group is present. When you're ready, so are we. Just in time, I respond. Would you please bring the lease documents? I think my family should watch it. What you do not own, you cannot lease. Mom loses her temper. I take the deed to the house out of my desk and hold it up. As reality sets in, I see their expressions. You're right, I whisper. I'm glad I have it then. I take a step back as Sienna lunges for the papers. This is impossible, she exclaims. My children, Nathan's parents have a trust money for your children, the one you kept hidden from everyone. Without flinching, I look her in the eyes. Julian filled me in on everything. The doorbell rings. Just on time, Margot walks in, followed by a group of women, the collective members. One of them remarks brightly, You must be Elena's family. We can't wait to turn this area into our new creative center. Mom's nails dig into my arm when she clutches it. Stop playing whatever game you're playing right now. Mom, the game is already over. I take her hand away gently. You need to find other arrangements by Sunday. You would exclude your own sister? Dad's voice gets louder. Your own blood and flesh. As I watch Margot lay out the contracts on the table, I respond, No. I'm just following your instructions. Taking care of family. I look to the women, my chosen clan, my new renters, those who truly see me. Just as expected, Sienna bursts into tears. I don't feel the need to fix it, though, for the first time. I'll be leaving in the morning. The collective moves in next week, I informed them. If they have any questions, they can get in touch with my attorney. Where has it gone? Mom insists. I consider the bags I have packed, of my Costa Rican ticket, of the liberty that awaits beyond Sunday. Is it important? I inquire. In any case, you never saw me while I was here. As I go, they continue to yell, their sounds fading behind me like fresh paint over old. There are 2 days remaining. Actually, though, I've already left. Julian sends me one last text message and my phone buzzes. I'm proud of you. I am too, for the first time in years. On Sunday, the moving truck shows up at precisely 9 in the morning. My phone erupts with notifications as I watch from the airport terminal. Mom text, Dad's missed calls. Voicemails, each one more urgent than the one before. Margot makes a video phone call. When I answer, my driveway is in disarray. She turns the camera and adds, You're missing quite a show. Sienna blocks the movers with her body as she stands in her expensive garment. My sister lives here. As one of the collective members responds, displaying the lease, You can't just, in fact, it's our house for the next 12 months. Legally enforceable agreement. The Mercedes driven by Mom screams into the driveway. Still dressed for church, she leaps out. Where is she? Elena, where are you? I think she's en route to her flight, Margot responds coolly, as she told everyone last week. Take off. Dad shows up, his cheeks flushed. Which flight? The collective starts relocating its furniture, materials, and easels. Expert, effective, unstoppable. Like sand footprints being washed away by a sea. This is absurd. Sienna lets out a scream. I have kids. There is nowhere for us to go. Another collective member holds up a folder and responds, That's not true. These bank's Julianments show that your savings account is in good shape. In addition, you own that beautiful condominium. Sienna's face turns pale. The account that is kept secret. The one she believed no one was aware of. Margot says, How did you? Your sister's lawyer is very thorough. It had to be, for the sake of insurance. The terminal reverberates with my boarding call. Now boarding, first class to San Jose. Hold on. Margot hands the phone to Mom. Please, Elena, baby. We can discuss this. I whisper, check the studio door. I left you a gift. As they dash to the studio, the camera trembles. A sealed envelope is taped to the door. Do I need to remain on the line? What? Margot asks. No need. I grin. I've had enough. I hear the envelope being ripped open before I hang up the phone. They will discover 3 items inside. The lease agreement in copy form, legally enforceable, unbreakable, a picture of me grinning at the airport, free. Additionally, a letter that starts, Dear family, you desired my privacy. Well done. You have nothing now. As soon as I am on the plane, my phone keeps buzzing. I go through the messages and then put the aircraft in airplane mode. Come on home. This is something we can resolve. This behavior is very inappropriate. You've damaged everything. You're vengeful. I smile at that last one. It almost feels like a compliment coming from her. Margot sent out one last text. They're still here. Your mother is in tears. Sienna's lawyers are threatening. While your dad makes irate phone calls, the collective is quietly unloading. It's superior to the theater. I take out my sketchbook, get a glass of champagne, and snuggle into my first-class seat. The flight attendant looks at my sketch, which shows a family of shadows being swept away by color waves. It's stunning, she remarks. What is its name? I respond, adding another stroke of blue, notice served. Before I turn my phone off entirely, it lights up one more time. My lawyer sent me an email. The lease was recorded and submitted. If necessary, a restraining order is available. We have officially informed your family that any efforts to enter or tamper with the property will be met with legal action. Have fun in Costa Rica. You are at liberty. Free. As we lift off and the ground gives way underneath us, the word reverberates. In my imagination, I imagine everyone standing in my driveway. Carrara understanding her backup plan has completely failed. Dad on the phone with his worthless legal friends, and Mom clutching her pearls. My studio will be transformed into something new by the group. Something colorful. Something unrelated to nurseries, family responsibilities, or spoiled kids who constantly take. I place another champagne order, raise it to the clouds beyond my window in a quiet toast. To Sienna, who believed she could control my personal space just as she did everything else. To my parents, who will now need to find someone else to blame for the misfortunes of their golden child. To the artist they never saw, finally using disappearing ink to paint her masterpiece. Above the clouds, the plane levels out. My family is discovering the consequences of pushing too hard. Consume excessive amounts. Too little is visible. To block out the final echoes of their voices in my mind, I take out my noise-canceling headphones. Let them be angry. Allow them to make threats. Allow them to experience what it's like to be invisible at last. In Costa Rica, I have a fresh canvas waiting for me, and I'm the only one with the brush this time. As she examines my most recent creation, Desiree remarks, "You transformed your trauma into pure gold." Through the studio windows, the Costa Rican sun shines on the metallic components of my artwork. Pain, defiance, and something that at last feels like calm are all illuminated by the dancing light on the canvas. This will serve as the show's focal point. I left my family standing in the driveway 3 months ago. Silence, color, ocean wind, and creation for 3 months. Me for 3 months. As she takes pictures for the exhibition catalog, Desiree adds, "The gallery director wants to know the title." I take a step back and look at the enormous canvas with its swirling patterns in rich purples and blues and gold leaf veins. It has a hollow area in the middle that is precisely the size of my former studio. Heritage, I conclude. It's what I call inheritance. For the first time in weeks, I've let notifications on my phone, and it dings. One of Margot's emails. "This is something you may want to see. The video of your sister's breakdown went viral. A link to a local news website is attached." The headline makes me nauseous. A local woman claims that an artist abandoned their family, but the truth tells a different tale. I mumble, "Oh God," and click the link. As the page fills with comments, Desiree leans in and reads over my shoulder. Wait, while wailing for her life, the abandoned sister had a hidden savings account and condo, who tries to steal both their business and their siblings' home. Discovered the Instagram of the golden child. While her sister was anonymously paying her expenses, she boasted about her fortune for years. The parents are equally awful. Who would choose their other daughter over a cunning liar? My hands shaking, I go through hundreds of similar remarks. Desiree remarks, "It appears that your sister attempted to play victim on social media. It backfired horribly. Once more, my phone buzzes. Mom sent an email. How could you have allowed this to occur? Your sister is inconsolable. It damages her reputation. There is gossiping in the country club. Come home and take care of things, please." Remove. Another from Dad. "This humiliation in public is inexcusable. The children of your sister are in pain. The parents of their buddies are inquiring." Remove. "Are you all right?" Desiree gives me a shoulder squeeze. I hung up the phone. The quiet is lovely. "Really, yes," I reply. I truly am for the first time. The door to the studio flings open. Breathless, Isabel, the residency director, bursts in. "Great news. Your show is wanted by the International Gallery Association. Everything. They are willing to fly you to Berlin for a prominent exhibit the following month." Startled, I blink. Then I grin. A big smile, uninhibited, unburdened. Allow them to rumor. Give them a spin. Let them know that I am not their shadow at last. This canvas, I own it. I'm just getting started, too. They have a world tour available. My heart skips a beat. Global tour. Paris is the first of 6 nations. I accept the formal letter from Isabel. They are referring to your work as a groundbreaking investigation of emotional freedom and family relations. Most artists haven't seen this kind of advancement in years. My mother suggests that I work as a receptionist. Of Dad saying that my decisions are unrealistic. Of Sienna taking measurements of my studio for her nursery as if it were her own. There is more, Isabel adds. The blog entry concerning your narrative. A book deal option is being considered. It is being referred to as the ideal illustration of karmic justice and quiet retaliation. Desiree gives me a firm embrace. You succeeded. You did it, really. I turn on my phone one last time. A note from Julian. "I saw the news. I also saw your artwork. You're amazing. Everyone is now witnessing Sienna's true nature. When everyone is aware of the truth, there is no one left to manipulate." I stroll up to the window and admire the verdant Costa Rican surroundings. My family is dealing with the fallout from their deeds somewhere back home. Not because I made them public. but because I at last quit keeping them safe. The truth came to light naturally, because I left. Behind me, Isabel whispers, "The gallery wants to know if you'll speak at the opening. Tell your story." I return my attention to inheritance, which now has a light-filled hollow in the middle. "Yes," I reply. "I believe it's time." Desiree furrows her brow. "What are you going to tell them?" I apply the finishing touches to the canvas by dipping my brush into the gold paint. "The truth," I reply. "The life you save by walking away is sometimes the greatest masterpiece you can create." Once more my phone buzzes. One more news alert. Exclusive: how one artist used pain to gain power, the true story behind the viral family drama. I turn it off without reading anymore. Let them speak. Let them make assumptions. Let them see at last. I need to finish some paintings. To organize a world tour. A life worth living. The final remnants of my family's dominance are also being erased, one brushstroke at a time, someplace in my former workshop, which is now a hive of color and joy. Are you prepared for the photographer? Isabel queries, "Your portrait is needed for the exhibition catalog." I stand in front of my work, brush in hand, grinning freely and authentically. "Ready?" she asks once more. I look her in the eye. There's no hesitancy this time. Never have I been more prepared. Paris. There is a murmur of excitement throughout the galleries. I can see the line of art lovers, reviewers, and collectors going around the block through the glass doors. They're all here for me. "5 minutes," Isabel murmurs as she fiddles with my collar. "Are you prepared?" I'm about to respond when my phone lights up. "Margot, activate the news." Right now. Isabel opens her tablet and pulls it up. Sienna's ex-husband, Nathan, appears on the courthouse steps, a familiar face filling the screen. "The court has given me full custody of our children after examining evidence of parental alienation and financial manipulation," he declares. Sienna's face is hidden and her hands are shackled as the camera pans to her being brought to a police vehicle. Below, the news ticker scrolls. Charges of white-collar fraud filed. The hidden accounts had lost their secrecy. Isabel whispers, "Your sister is going to jail." "No," I tell her. "She is finally being held accountable." The doors to the gallery open. People pour in, traveling from chaos to tranquility. In front of inheritance, which is now worth more than my parents' house, I hear gasps. There are swirling whispers. Cameras flash. Curators give a nod. Customers stay. I notice a familiar figure. Julian, standing by myself, sharp in a suit, quietly, proudly studying my work. When I get close, he exclaims, "Couldn't miss this." "It's lovely, Val. Everything." He pauses, "Even the unsightly portions. In particular, those." I get a newspaper from him. Headline for the front page. A local business magnate resigns amid controversy. A picture of my father leaving his office with his head down, no tie and no spin is underneath it. Julian says the fraud investigation into Sienna exposed some creative accounting at his firm. He has been hiding her plots for years. The director of the gallery gestures. It's time for my speech. I accept the podium. A plethora of excited faces gaze up at me. Critics bend forward. Pens are ready for collectors. Behind me, the light from my artwork, Inheritance, shines brightly. I start by saying, people ask why I paint hollow spaces. Rooms are empty, missing components. A gold-filled negative space. What am I trying to say? They ask. I notice movement in the rear. Silently, Mom enters, appearing smaller than I've ever seen her. No high-end clothing, no flawless cosmetic. Like a cloak too heavy for the weather, a lady carried regret. I go on. The truth is that sometimes having the guts to leave space unoccupied is the most valuable thing we own. To refrain from packing it full of expectations from other people. We look at each other. She's the one who turns away first, for once. I even remark, my family wanted me to exchange my dreams for diapers. I see her wince. I continue. Rather, I transform their demands into art by framing them. Each dismissal turned into a stroke. Every alteration has a hue. The audience mutters in gratitude. A few people give a nod. A few people put their palms to their hearts. They say the best retaliation is success, I conclude, taking a breather. I turn to look at inheritance again. No, the truth is, I stop, allowing the words to linger. But I disagree, I finally say. Living a true life is the best kind of retaliation, even if the truth is painful. Mom comes after the speech. My last letter, mushy from repeated reading, is in the envelope she is holding. She whispers, "Your father's firm is finished. Our membership was terminated by the country club." She pauses. "Sienna's kids," she falters. I conclude, "You're better off with Nathan." Steer clear of the manipulation. "Everything was lost," she murmurs. "No," I tell her. "What was never truly yours was taken away from you. My personal area, my gift, my adherence." She surveys the gallery at prices that could purchase multiple homes. At the rave reviews written by the critics. She used to disregard the life as mere fantasy. "I apologize," she whispers. "I'm not asking for forgiveness." "Good," I respond steadily and firmly, "because I'm not here for that. I chose myself, which is why I am here." The director of the gallery comes over with a bottle of champagne. She smiles and says, "They're ready for the toast." At last, Mom comprehends the dismissal and takes a step back. "You appear strong," she murmurs. "I was always," I answer. "You simply didn't see it." Cameras flare as she slips away. The filmmaker lifts her glass. "To Elena," she declares, whose story reminds us that sometimes the greatest art comes from knowing what to leave behind, and whose inheritance series just sold for a gallery record. I lift my drink and notice Julian's smug grin. Isabel nods knowingly. From the rear of the room, Margot gave a thumbs up. One last buzz on my phone. From the Women's Collective, which is currently flourishing in my former studio. "There is a lot of brightness and creativity in your place. Exactly as you desired. As you were due, I survey my workspace, at the empty voids that are now gold-filled. The darkness gave way to brightness. The truth is depicted in hues that are too vivid to ignore. They wanted me to exchange diapers for my dreams. Rather, I made my masterpiece out of their expectations." The thing with retaliation is that it doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it's about silently selecting yourself and creating a life that is so peaceful and purposeful that others who formerly attempted to control you no longer have a place in it. Remember this if you've been abandoned or deceived. Limits are love directed inward, and healing is power. Let your own development be the solution. Have you ever left someone who didn't really see you? I'd love to know how you discovered your strength, so please share your story in the comments section.